Shalom, everybody. It's Eliah bin Yaakov. We're about to start from the beginning. I'm going to start over. As far as in my format and how I do things, I'm going to go back to the original thing I said I was going to do. I'm going to do Torah portions. I'm going to do Ketuvim portions, and I'm going to do Nevi'im portions. The three different divisions of the ancient book of remembrance, or what we call Torah or Tanakh. We're going to start from Barashit, which means the origin. We're going to start from the beginning, the origin of it all, which is the creation story. And we're going to break it down into segments. And the first segment that I'm going to cover is the creation of the heavens and the atmosphere. We say, Todah Yahweh. Thank you for bringing us together once again to glorify your name, to glorify your Torah, to glorify your truth, to glorify the light that you have put into this world. And we ask that your Ruach shall fill our spirits and shall fill our minds, that we shall walk according to your will, Abba, and that we forever shall keep your Torah in our hearts and in our minds and on our tongues, that we shall awake the Abarim and our Achim, our brothers who are of the Abarim, that they shall wake and know their true identity, that we shall be a light unto the Goyim of the world, that they shall know their transgressions, and they shall turn back to Yahweh, Elohim Yisrael, creator of all things. We say Todah, Amen. We're going to start off in Bereshit 1 and chapter 1. It goes, Bereshit bara Elohim. At the origin, Elohim shaped by carving, Ith Hashemayim with Ha-Charetz, the upper universe, together with the planet Earth. Now, Bereshit, in the origins, I said bara. It was translated as created in your Bible, most likely. But bara indicates forming something by shaping it, with a knife, by carving it, by cutting it. It doesn't mean like haya, which means just to poof, to come into existence. It means to carve something, like you would do a sculpture. So we see that the language indicates that in the beginning, in the creation, the ruler of existence, which is Elohim, he created, he shaped. It didn't necessarily just say he created it, because the mass must have already been there, but he shaped it. He carved out the upper universe, of what we know as of outer space, and its its principles and in all of its properties, together with the planet Earth. There was no mention of any other stars, so that cancels the Big Bang theories. That cancels all of these people who you think that the Earth. The earth was the basis of the creation, and we're going to realize that. He goes on in 1 and 2 and says, Wa charetz hata, but the planet Earth became to be tohu wa bohu, without form and empty, wa choshek chal panai taom, and darkness covered the surface of the deepest places. Wa ruach alahim, then the breath of Elohim, or the ruler of existence, marachefet chal panai hamayim, floated over the surface of the waters. Now we see he says that in its continuance, after he formed the upper universe together with the planet Earth, that the planet Earth, it became to be without form and empty when he carved it. He carved it, and it didn't have no formation. And this word form also can mean purpose. So it had no purpose, and it was empty. It was nothing here but the primordial waters. Obviously, we know because it says, "In darkness covered the surface of the deepest places." Okay, this word for deepest places, which is taom, it actually indicates the deepest places. When it says it's talking about like the darkness to the bottom of the ocean. If you were to go to the bottom of the ocean, it would be extremely dark. The deeper you go into the water, the darker and the more dense it is, the harder it is to see. So here's an indication that our earth, our planet, was full of water and darkness. And it says, then the breath, wa ruach alahim, okay, it floated over marachefet. It floated over kalpanai hamayim, over the surface of the waters. And this is a second confirmation that Tahom indicates the deepest waters. It was full of water here on the earth, okay? So we got to understand that now. Water was the key element of this entire world. When it was first formed, there was no dry land to be appeared, but it was dark everywhere. But then the breath of Yahuwah, or what we know as the spirit, the ruach, the wind of the Yahuwah, it floated over. It started to hover over the surface of these waters. Okay, now just keep this picture in your mind of this wind hovering. Okay, and now it's starting to cause friction. It's starting to cause waves. It's starting to cause commotion. Right. 1 and 3 says, Wayomer Alahim Yayur Wayayur. That means then Alahim said it will be light, and it began to shine. Okay, because Ur means light. Ur can mean a flame. Ur can mean, to give light pretty much. To illuminate. Okay, to shine. And so he said, Wayomer Alahim Wayayur. He said, there will be light. Okay. Now we're going to break something down. He said it. Notice. The wind is blowing in those waters, like I told you, this deep sea. And there's darkness in this deep sea. But the Spirit is hovering over it. And then the Almighty Creator, the ruler of existence, the Elohim, he says a word. And he speaks it into existence. Could this be possible? That his voice created light? Because where else did the light come from? The earth was full of water. So I did a little research. And I found out about a science. And I found out about something called sonoluminescence. Sonoluminescence. Under certain circumstances, sound waves can generate light. The first instances of sonoluminescence were documented in the mid-1930s, when scientists experimenting with naval sonar noticed that sound waves, when traveling through water, could sometimes create a bluish glow. Small bubbles would emit flashes of light in ways that could only be traced or only be termed as ACEs. As the 30s wore on, talking about the 1930s, scientists found that they had more important things on their minds than the study of mood lighting, because they weren't trying to break down this. They didn't understand the concepts of Yahuwah. It wasn't until the late 1980s, when the nuclear arsenals were good and stocked, and the popularity of neon clothing made bluish glowing things potentially big business. They wanted the money, right? Scientists managed to repeatedly create single bubble sonoluminescence, single bubbles that would glow with bluish bursts of light. There are a few things about sonoluminescence that everyone agrees on. It happens because small bubbles are created, and because the sound waves applied to the water cause those bubbles to expand and to contract rapidly. That rapid expansion and contraction in such a small space causes a massive concentration of the energy of the sound waves, and it causes flashes of light. There you go, people. So in the midst of this pyramidal water that was full of darkness, Yahweh spoke. And the words that he spoke was to bring forth light. He knew about sonoluminescence before the 1900s, before the 1990s, as we just read about. Before these scientists are just now figuring this out 5,000 some odd years later. But the Almighty Yahweh already knew that his voice would rumble through that water and create glowing light, which we know as energy to this day. Now, notice that light was created and there was no sun. So for all of these people who are saying that we get our energy from the light of the sun, and the sun causes energy, you got it backwards. You're worshiping the sun. Stay away from me with your sun god worship. We see that Elohim created light in the midst of the waters through sonoluminescence. Okay, 1 and 4 goes on to say back in Genesis now, Barashit, he says, Wayara Elohim et ha'or kitob. And Elohim, the ruler of existence, observed the light was therefore pleasing. Wayabdel Elohim. Then Elohim placed a separation Bain Ha'or Ubain HaChoshek, between the light and between the darkness. It says that Elohim, he observed the light. Because after him speaking in this water, he noticed how this light was formed through this expansion of these bubbles, because of this vibration. He noticed this light and he observed that this energy was good. This energy of creating force was good, light, energy that was pushed and forced by sound waves, pushed by waves, pushed by energy, frequency, was perfect. Then he placed a separation between this light that he created and the darkness which was already there, the density. So he chose for a time for the world and the atmosphere to be dense, and for a time it to be more light. Okay, after the expansion of this darkness. 1 and 5 says, Wayikra Alahim, then Alahim declared Laor Yom. Yom for the light. He declared Yom. Yom is the word for day. Yom, it means day. It's a 12-hour period. Okay, from sunrise to sunset. It goes on to say, Wachoshek Kara Layala. And for the darkness, he declared Layala, which means night. It goes to say, Wayahi Kereb, Wayahi Boker, and there was an evening, and then there was a dawning, Yom Echad, day one. So we see in day one, Yahweh created energy by speaking sound waves into the primeval water, creating sonoluminescence, which brought forth the birth of light and the energy. By his wisdom, he knew how to do these things. By his, just almighty knowledge, he understood his elements of what he created and what he had to work with and what existence was. Neutrons and all of these things. This was all on the first day when he separated light. He created energy and he separated the lighter density from the darker density. Okay, in day one. It goes on in 1 and 6 and says, Wayomer Alahim. Then Alahim said, Yahi Rakiach. There will be a solid expansion, Batok Hamayim, in the middle of the waters, Wihi Mabadil, Bain Mayim Lamayim. Okay, between the lower and the upper waters. Okay, he says that, I'm sorry, let me say that one more time. I think I missed something. Sorry, when we rewind real quick, let's do this one more time. Wayomer Alahim. Then Alahim said, Yahi Rikach, Rahi Rikiach. There will be a solid expansion, Batok Hamayim, okay, in the middle of the waters, Wihi Mabadil, and it will be a separation, Bain Mayim Alamayim, between the lower and the upper waters. Okay, he was saying it's going to be a solid expansion. This is what he calls the Rakiach. The Rakiach. What is the Rakiach? We got to do another. He said a solid, expansion in the midst of the waters. Okay, because the whole world is full of water. These primitive waters. He put a separation there, something that was going to be a thick, solid expansion. Now let's go into science and see, can we prove that? Let's look up the troposphere. The troposphere is the layer of the atmosphere closest to the Earth's surface, extending up to about 10 to 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface. It contains 75% of the atmosphere's mass. The troposphere is wider at the equator than at the poles. Temperature and pressure drops as you go higher up the troposphere. At the very top of the troposphere is the tropopause, where the temperature reaches a stable minimum. Some scientists call the tropopause a thermal layer or cold trap, because this is a point where rising water vapor cannot go higher because it changes into ice and is trapped. If there is no cold trap, Earth would lose all its water. Most of what we call weather occurs in the troposphere. The uneven heating of the regions of the troposphere by the sun causes convection currents and winds. Warm air from Earth's surface rises and cold air above it rushes in to replace it. When warm air reaches the tropopause, it cannot go higher as the air above it in the stratosphere is warmer and lighter. Notice it said it cannot go above it, preventing much air convection beyond the tropopause. The tropopause acts like an invisible barrier and is the reason why most clouds form and weather phenomena occur within the troposphere. So we see that the Rakia, this solid expansion, is the troposphere of our atmosphere. This is the dividing level of our atmosphere right there that separates the lower waters, which we see today. Okay? The lower waters, which is on the earth, And then it said it has a layer there where it stops it and the water can't go any higher. He divided from the waters that's above, which we know to be gases. We're going to get into that. 1:7 says, Wayakas Alahim et ha-rakiach. Then Alahim made this solid expanse, which we know to be the troposphere. Wayabdel, and he made a separation, Bain Hamaim Asher Mitachat La Rakiach. Okay, Bain Hamaim Asher Mitachat La Rakiach. Okay, between the waters that are underneath the solid expanse, which are the surface and the sky waters, which we just read in the troposphere. Ubain Hamaim Asher Mekal La Rakiach. Okay, in between the waters that are above the solid expanse, which are the stratosphere, the manosphere, and the thermosphere, where all the gases are, and it was firmly established, he says, Wayahi Cain. Okay, so here we see that Elohim created our atmosphere. He created the Hashemayim, and he put a divide there so that the gases that are above in the stratosphere, the manosphere, and the thermosphere, which contain the ozone layer. It is where the heat comes in. It's blocked. The heat is blocked. The UV rays that comes in. All of these things are blocked in the upper part by gas particles because it's so close to the sun. It's hot, so the upper waters become gas that is divided. The waters that are above it. What it's speaking about right here. The Ubein Hamayim Asher Mechal La Rakiak. Wayahi Cain, when he said it was firmly established, he was talking about the upper waters, which are the gases that protect the earth. And it goes on to say in 1:8, Wayikra Alahim, and Alahim declared the solid expanse to be named Shamayim, okay, or we know as atmosphere. So when we say Shamayim, we're speaking of the atmosphere, the entire atmosphere, all four layers, okay. But the solid expanse, just itself, is the whole Shemayim, okay, and everything in the thermosphere and above would be considered Hashemayim, the heaven, the highest of highs. When you say Shami Hashemayim, that's when you're speaking of the parallel spiritual world of Shemayim. But notice it says Wayikra Alahim, and Alahim declared the solid expanse La Rakia Shemayim to be named Shemayim. Wayahi Kerib, Wayahi Boker, Yom Sheni. Then there was evening, then it was dawn, and that was day 2. And it's just so beautiful. Like I see how science tries to separate, Yahweh Elohim from any kind of creation. But instead of just giving the credit that the knowledge that they've discovered, it just confirms, as you see, it confirms how true the biblical account of Yahweh creating this world, Yahweh creating this world, he that caused existence, and how he performed and prepared our world. It's just that they spoke in different languages. And that's why I wanted to share this with you. But as we end this video, I want to do this more often. I want to end this with a song of praise. And I can't really sing. So I'm just going to quote it. I'm going to say it in prayer form, in which it would have been wrote. And people, if you have a beautiful voice, I would really, ask for you to give me contact, and I will translate a Hebrew scripture for you if you don't have the time or the ability to do it. And if you can really sing, I would love to hear people's voices sing the Tehillim of Dawad. It goes to say, וסדקים ישמחו יחלצו לפני אלוהים וישישו בשמך. But to the righteous ones, let him be anointed in him, and let him be exalted in him in the presence of Elohim, and let him become aged in his anointeds. Shiru le'alahim, zamru shemo, solo le'roke b'charabot, baya shemo, wekilzu le'banayu. Sing to Elohim, make music to his name, lift up him who rides in the desert steeps, by his name Yah, therefore exalt in his presence. We give glory to he who has created Hashemayim. And I just ask you to stay tuned. I'm going to continue on in this. I'm going to do part 2, which we're going to understand the creation of the planets and the galaxies. Okay, stay very close and tuned. I hope that you loved it. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you learned something. And like I say, if you have anything to say, any comments, get at me. I'm gonna post up my email address. I'm gonna post up my telephone number. I'm gonna post up my Facebook page, because I'm reaching out to all of my brothers and sisters out there, man. If you're Hebrew Israelite, or whether you're Christianic, or whether you're Gentile, you're Goyim, I don't care what country you're from. If you want to get to know Yahweh and His true word of the Yabarim, the Yudit Safara, then, give me a call, man. Hit me up. Shalom to everybody out there. Thank you so much for your time.
Hail to the King and Lords of Lords. May He protect us from the evil. Hail to the King, Lords of Lords. May He protect us from evil.
This is a Moments production.